Let's hear from some West Ham fans. Steve is on the line. Morning, Steve.
Morning, Steve.
Morning. How's the golf going, Ray? All right?
Yeah. I played yesterday. Got soaked.
Fondham Park?
Oh, no, just down the road, the Heron, which is very good at the moment. But Fondham's a great track as well. That's a fantastic course.
So what did you make of last night, Steve?
That's nice that he's done. Let's get this over with. The only problem with West Ham over the last 10, 15 years has been Brady and Sullivan. I won't say Gold because he was a West Ham through and through. These two clowns that we've got in charge are the reason we have gone downhill. They have been trying to get Harrods players on Aldi prices. You've got teams like Bournemouth who get 12,000 and they're near the top of the league. You get Brighton guaranteed 30,000. Because it's not, as Tony Cotty said, it's not a football ground. They're paying peppercorn rent when they could have built a stadium on the old May and Baker site down at West Ham about 10 years ago.
Steve, thank you very much indeed for your call. I think Steve expressing the feelings that a lot of West Ham fans will share. Let's get more now with the co-founder of West Ham TV, Nicky Hawkins. Morning, Nicky.
Morning, Nicky.
Morning, Jeff. Morning, Ray. How are you?
Yeah, good, mate. Look, I'm not sure how well the protest worked or not, but the players did the job for you, didn't they? Because they found a way to drive the fans away.
Well, it looked like they boycotted as well. So, so they're joining in. But listen, the protests are the protests. I was participating in the protest last night, so I didn't go. It's probably the best thing for me, really, that I didn't go, because I would have been absolutely seething if I'd have been in the stadium and I'd seen that. But I did watch it on the TV. But, listen, things are not good over there at the minute, boys. There's all sorts of stuff going on and we're in big trouble.
I was just about to say, Nick, I mean, will you carry on with the protests the next home games? Or because there'll be a stage when you've got to get behind the team as well. And it's no good for the players when you see so many empties. I know, I totally agree with what you're doing, but where do you cross the line and say, look, we could end up in a championship here if we don't get behind the team?
No, I appreciate what you're saying, Ray. But what I would say to that is I purchased a ticket. I'm not given a ticket by anybody. You know, the players. You know, people were saying. I see Alex Crooks yesterday saying, the players need you to play. Well, if the players need me so much, why don't they buy my ticket? They don't need us that much. They need someone. They don't. I don't think they give to Bob if we're in there or not. If I'm honest with you, we're so far away from him anyway. I don't even think they notice us anymore. And I think that the opposing fans and the opposing teams that come to the London Stadium will say the same thing. Yeah. They don't know whether they're there or not.
Yeah, I don't know who does your recruitment at West Ham, but obviously you've lost some key players at Kudos last year, named Declan, and you've not really gone in and spent that money on other players, have you? And that's the big probably worry, because you've always got to try and you're going to lose your best players, like Brighton have done, like Brentford, but you've got to replace them. You've got to replace them with someone who's going to give you the all, give it their all, and help the players around them. But it doesn't look like they've done that well. So that's the problem they're going to have. And I come from a West Ham area myself in East London. What the West Ham fans always want is that bit of desire. They want that bit of run through a brick wall for West Ham. And watching last night, it was well off that, wasn't it, Nick?
Well, I always said this, Ray, to please West Ham fans, people ask what the West Ham way is and things like that. West Ham fans are a very honest bunch of people. And if you're honest with them and if you give your all for the club and we can see that you're giving your all. Craig Bellamy said it the best, I think. He said they know what they're talking about over at West Ham and they can see when you're trying and they can see when you're faking. And what I saw last night was too many people not playing for the badge, not proud to play for the club. Not interested in playing for the club, not interested in fighting for the club, not interested in a bit of self-pride. That's what I saw. Yeah. But, we don't ask for much, but effort we do expect. Absolutely. And if you ain't going to give effort, then we good to us. I'll have 11 Mark Nobles over 11 Kudoses from the last season. Every day of the week. I mean,
the players, Nick, they can't use... There were plenty of fans there. They can't use that as any sort of excuse for that performance.
Shouldn't be an excuse.
Last night. And if you want to just compare, I mean, Brentford, with all due respect, so much smaller a football club than West Ham are, and yet look how well they are run. What a contrast it is between the two clubs.
And that's the thing. You can have a Lamborghini running on a Ford engine. It's not makes it a Lamborghini, if the basis of the club and the core of the club is not functioning properly, you might as well be in League Two, non-league, because, in terms of the ground, let's go back to the ground, what they've said about the ground. They've moved this into the ground. We got voted the 89th worst football stadium in the league, one below the Hill Dickinson, which was the only Premier League one below us, and that was because it wasn't built yet. So that is the level of football ground they've moved this into for fan experience. You see the types of, I see Simon Jordan talking to Dan and things and saying, well, you've got to make it your own. They've moved this into a position where we can't make it our own. It's not our own. It will never be our own. And the government are going to make sure of that. And rightly so as well. Nobody should be getting a free stadium from taxpayers, and that's for sure. And we've always said that. So the fact that we're renting it, the fact that we can't do anything with it, and the fact that we've been put in this position by someone that made it better for himself and not for the fan experience, it is the reason that the club's going the way it's going. And if we don't change something soon, they're going to lose all of the fans that they've got, and they're going to lose their league status.
Nicky, thank you very much indeed.
Thanks, Nick.
Gloomy morning for Hammers fans, that is for sure. Just to add to that gloom, by the way, Leeds away on Friday night. Then they've got Newcastle at home. Then Burnley at home. And then listen to this. After the Burnley game, they've got Bournemouth, Liverpool, Manchester United, Brighton, Villa and Man City successively before Christmas. Merry Christmas, you Hammers fans. Let's take another quick call now. 03717 223344. West Ham fans, what needs to change? Mel is a West Ham fan. Morning, Mel.
How you doing, Jeff? You
Morning,
all right,
Mel.
Yeah, good, thanks, mate. Yeah, good. So what needs to change at West Ham?
Do you know what? I don't know. I'm just dejected. Listen, this ain't my club anymore, It's we've been completely ruined with their ownership for the last 15 or so years. Look, Karen Brady is an employee of the club, and when anybody else fails as an employee of the club, they should be removed. Now, Karen Brady promised us world-class stadium, world-class football from a world-class team, and that is complete failure right across the board. Now, they promised us 15-odd years ago that we were going to be playing the Champions League football. That's another failure. Look, they're penny pinching. They've destroyed the soul of the club. They've destroyed the hardcore members of the club, i.e. the real supporters of the club. They've gone to a non-purpose built stadium for athletics. We've just lost everything. And to be honest with you, I can see us going down this year. I really can. And no disrespect to Nuno. He's got a mountain to climb. And with that team he's got, I can't see it going anywhere. They've got some good youngsters, Pearson Fearon in the youth. They've got Mohamedou Kante. Give them a break. Give them a chance. They've got hunger, and they've got the belly to be successful. And I've heard nothing but good reports from people saying that they're great. They're good youngsters. So give them a break. They're going to play for the shirt. What do you think, Ray?
Yeah, well, I think Nuno will certainly, with the coaching staff, all stepping up from the under-21s. They will be pushing their players who they see who can really try and make a difference. It's very hard for putting youngsters in, though. I know, look, sometimes they're fearless youngsters, and you can put them in and nothing will phase them, and they get on with it. But to put them into a relegation battle, you need some experience around them. And if you can get the right personnel around them to help them, because it is difficult. It's a different, relegation battle. I played one for Hull, and you can realise how tough it gets because, every single point's so important. You're under pressure. And West Ham certainly going to. It might be better they play football away from home. Who knows? Because, there might expectations about West Ham. I mean, going to Leeds, it's always going to be a difficult Friday, but everybody now, after watching West Ham last night, are expecting Leeds to win the game. So they're putting more pressure on Leeds now to win the game. So maybe it helps them playing away from home. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, in an ideal world, those kids, you want to drip them in when things are going well.
Yeah,
Mel, thank you very much indeed.